Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Step into the Miraculous. I am your host, Joan of Angels. And today we are going to be speaking with a few people, actually, talking about how to become your highest self using DNA activations, creating a spiritual rebirth in your body and into your ascension and into this new realm. So I'm really excited to introduce my three guests to you. We have Galactic Greg. We have Hello Galactic Greg and welcome. And we have Robin and we have Leigha. So we have Robin Nordling and Leigha Wald. Welcome, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for having us, Joan. Great to be here.
I'm really excited to see all of you, and I want to welcome all of you who are here listening. Guys, I'm your host, Joan of Angels. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share the channel so we can continue to get great guests like you're about to hear. So tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you came to do this kind of spiritual awakening, spiritual rebirth. Like, were you always awakened souls?
No, we were products of the system, just like everyone else. We participated in the dense duality. I honestly, this journey together began with the journey as the individual. We all three of us can attest to that it began with us first and foremost. It began with our own individual awakenings. It began with our own individual discoveries, and it began with our own individual proclamation of our own self-power, awareness, freedom, and sovereignty. And with that, timelines collapsed. We were putting ourselves out there. I was putting myself out there into the social media world. I decided to jump into the truther circuit. I kind of found myself involved and got connected to a lot of people. Everything just started to snowball and started to happen really fast. And one day I got a friend request from these two wonderful, beautiful souls, mainly Leigha. Robin wasn't on social media at the time, and myself and Leigha just immediately sparked a brotherly, sisterly connection, and that just snowballed and snowballed and snowballed and snowballed. And here we are. The rest is history, to make a long story short.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to see you guys, and I want to welcome all of our audience. Let us know where you're from, and if you have any questions about anything we're about to talk about, we want to hear about it. So, well, that's from your point of view, Galactic Greg, and I just want to point out to everyone, in honor of Galactic Greg, I brought my extraterrestrial, my E.T. He's a tall white Zeta. His name is Avon, and he is an ambassador here at the planet, and he's involved in all things about ascension. So he wanted to say hi to you, Greg. Okay. To bring that added perspective. So Robin and Leigha, then, how, is that your version of the story? Like, you saw Galactic Greg, and what happened?
Yeah. Well, Robin and I, we're married. We've got 3 kids. We met when we were 4 originally, and then we came in and out of each other's lives most of our lives. Robin started his journey of awakening about 22 years ago, I think now. And then, everything, like Greg said, just snowballed as 2020 came to pass, and everybody was kind of connecting more online. We connected with Greg, and it's the rest is history pretty much. So one thing led to another, podcasts and meetings online and getting to know each other. And now Spirited Rebirth and Herbal Healing is very much our existence, and we couldn't be happier about it.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Okay, so what is this vision and this mission that the 3 of you, and 3 is such a good number, by the way, it's that Mother, Father, God, it's that Holy Trinity, but what is this vision that the 3 of you together then are spreading across the planet for us?
Oh, well, this is the exciting part. Yes. And like you said, the 3 main archetypes of the Holy Trinity, get to be present in what we get to do. So it is such a balanced equation between the three of us. Whenever one aspect is required, one of us can fulfill any one of those three. And that's the beauty in it, is through our individual journeys, on our own, we've gone into our divine feminine, into the seat of where the mother goddess exists within us, the sacral, or lower dantian as I refer to it. And we look to unify that with the father aspect. So through my investigation, I woke up early due to an injury due to a booster. And I won't go into more description of that.
Okay. Everyone knows what that means. Okay.
Yep. So autoimmune response. Arm was paralyzed for about 2 weeks. Even friends thought they were like, "Come on, Robin, you're faking it." I'm like, "No, seriously, I'm not writing with my left hand to make a joke for 2 weeks. This is screwing with me. Basketball, I can't even lift my arm." And I proved it by putting my hand on the table and pushing a thumbtack into my palm and pulled it out. And there's just like a hole. It didn't really bleed. And I was like, "See, I don't feel it." And they're like, "Whoa,
Wow.
friends." So I thought the nurse hit a nerve. We had no idea. So I went through that whole system, was exposed to serotonin reuptake inhibitors and the effects on consciousness. And I became very aware of the different, I guess, channels of consciousness that we can be susceptible to, and the archetypes present out there, this idea of good versus evil, and where it truly exists, and what is the root of pain. So through my own healing journey of irritable bowel, fibromyalgia, chronic pain, I had to give up after a year of college because I knew I'm not retaining the information. It's not worth my time and money if I can't remember these things. So I had to do a lot of internal healing, and there were no answers out there. I did not have a version of me to go and get advice from. So in going through that self-healing journey, what has resulted was an individual that did heal and could participate again and reconnected with the love of his life, because she also had done work on her own, admissions of her own worthiness. And that's what really allowed us to reconnect. And really, Leigha opening up into the world and the heart of the world and the pain that everyone was going through collectively. I was doing it in our heart-led business, a really successful, thriving dance studio until the mandates. And I was an energy worker, massage therapist, as we've spoken a bit, doing the trigger point to release that tension and allow these individuals to be in their body free of pain and see the world through different eyes. So changing people's perspective became my greatest joy. And Leigha opening doorways, Galactic Greg, his spirit and his soul, I would hear things in the background, and I heard the innocence, I heard the purity. So an opportunity presented itself. And this is really important, everyone. We are not more special than you guys. We are on this journey as well. We may be aware of our past lifetimes because of the work we've done, the pains we've gone through, and the admissions through going through those pains that one comes to.
And then that's what we bring to the table when we have a client, is our three experiences through the spiritual journey, and then all of our perspectives. So we have this unique trinity of, this beauty, our three journeys combined, and what we've brought for ourselves individually, and then as a trio. So, I mean, we do offer mentorships, so we work one-to-one 1 to 3 basically, and then we do couples mentoring, and that has really been a wonderful experience to watch these couples fly. So that's 2 to 3, and then we have these workshops, as you were saying, Joan. That's kind of why we're here, and we have this program, activating your DNA. So we kind of, we try to offer something in every kind of price point for people, whether they want like a really dive in experience of like a month with us or 2 months with us, where they're in our energy for that month and a half, 2 months, whatever the calling is. And then we'll do workshops and master classes, and on various topics. So
I have lots of questions, by the way. I do. I have lots of questions, and I'm not going to share the screen at this moment because I was going to show about the DNA activation. But I want to go back to something Robin said. Robin, you said that you were taking that serotonin release
inhibitor,
inhibitor, and it shifted your consciousness and kind of now, did it awaken your consciousness in the different levels? Is that how your great awakening kind of happened?
Well, yeah, it did in a way, but it did not open me up to the positive realm.
That's what I was wondering. Okay, thank you.
The antidepressants, and this is really important because so many of us have had these prescribed to us, and I do want to make it clear. I walked out of the doctor's office the first time I went to him and said, listen, my shin splints are so bad I can barely walk, let alone play basketball. I don't know what's going on in my body. I have terrible pain. I'm getting migraines, and I don't know what is happening. And he said, okay. He sits back and he says, so it's psychosomatic. Teenagers at this age do this for attention. And meanwhile, I'm thinking, oh, buddy, you've got this so wrong. I'm the star athlete of my school. I have friends in every social group. The only reason I would ever show up to a doctor is if I'm physically unable to be me, and that's why I am here. I am not making this up for attention. In fact, people don't know how to react to me. When they walk by with perfume on and I get a splitting headache and have to run off into the bathroom and put cold water on my face and eyes to relieve some of the inflammation. And that's how I learned pressure point therapy, was to block pain signals in the body. So I learned the reverse way to the light by understanding the pain of depression, of darkness.
And the antidepressants essentially opened up a vortex.
Yes. I was open to ideas and thoughts that I knew weren't mine, because I was very aware as a youngster. I was already very sensitive, seeing, kind of having interaction with spirit here and there, not wanting to, but having to. So I was sensitive, and after taking those, only for the insomnia, because anyone that's had insomnia knows 3 months of that, you're at the end of your rope. Waking up feeling worse than you did the night before every single day, knowing you're progressively degrading, it's tough to want to stay in your human body. So my mom begged me, can you please go back to the doctor? Because the first time I was like, no, you got this wrong. And he's like, well, and I'm going to prescribe you this. And I'm like, dude, that 1,500 or 15,000. It was like 1.5 grams of ibuprofen and a gram of extra strength Tylenol a day. And he said, take this for pain. And I'm like, but you just said it's psychosomatic. I'm making it up. And I'm like, I don't get it. And I'm an athlete. I understand what that's going to do to my organs. And he's like, well, it's your pain or your organs. I'm like, wow. So I walked out and thought to myself, what an a-hole. He doesn't care. And then That actually, Joan, was the first intervention. And this was before the serotonin reuptake inhibitors, the
So then you went
antidepressants.
back.
So a voice for the first time said to me, "Why should he care, Robin? He's just a guy showing up at work, doing a job with the tools he has. Why should he care about you and your life? Why is it his problem?" And I walked out of there thinking he's the a-hole. But then instantly, before I even got to the vehicle with my mom, because I couldn't drive at that point, I realized this is my responsibility. So immediately I wasn't able to take the victim stance. I knew I could never lie to myself that I never heard that voice. And I knew that voice was me. It was a more mature version of me, potentially a future self or a higher self, a more spiritually advanced self, going back in time to that young version of me saying, "You can do this. It's up to you. Self mastery is your destiny, not dependency upon a system." So it was really beautiful, but continuing to degrade, I did go back because I didn't want to be around, and I knew sleep was the answer. So okay, I'll take these little things and hopefully they'll make me sleep. Well, that opened me up to images of darkness, thoughts, very, very disturbing thoughts. And I
Interesting.
knew they weren't mine. I knew that because before I had never had them. So I knew the root. So I did go cold turkey, but that was 3 years of no feeling at all.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
So I have some questions then about that. And the truth is that most of those pharmaceutical types of medication shut off our connection to source. They just turn our own power down.
Yep.
And the beauty of all of what's happening today is that it's forcing people to wake up and showing us that, like just what happened for you. But now we get to, so I know that we've been talking about your DNA and activating your DNA and the spiritual awakening. So I want you to share with us how that, and maybe Galactic Greg wants to talk about it or Leigha, but how that will undo all that stuff that happened. Okay, that changed your body chemistry to turn off your connection to source and your healing within. Okay, because we know that that's what it does. So how do what we do, what you guys do, offer the opportunity to heal from that and recover? Who wants
Well,
to take it?
that's exactly what it does. It offers you the opportunity. It opens the doorway. I mean, I myself had been on antidepressants since the age of 5, along with a whole slew of other psychosomatic drugs. So the journey for me was long and arduous, coming off of that and coming back to myself, actually connecting with myself and feeling my real emotions, not something synthetic or chemical or of a dark matter, a dark entity. So myself and Robin understand the amount of pressure and the weight that these individuals are under. Especially the pressure that they're under to keep taking these types of westernized modalities because of the fact, who will I be when I come off? Because they don't know, because it does cut you off from yourself. It does cut you off from your connection to source. And for someone like myself who has actually been weaned off properly by a holistic doctor, and therefore that catapulted me into a more holistic natural lifestyle and got me into the books and got me into school and got me back into nature and actually studying all of this and how this actually works in the natural way. We have the ability to facilitate that space for an individual who is within that transition or who simply wishes to make that transition. Now, we're not going to light your torch for you. We're not. We can't do that. With any type of an addiction or attachment to an external modality, it does come from the individual to make that initial choice. Like, they have had enough. They're done. They no longer wish to play and partake in this reality for themselves. Even when they're cut off from source, even when I was cut off at my choking point, Joan, I did know that something was wrong. Yeah, we are smart enough and we are powerful enough to know that something is wrong, especially when your external existence begins to just reflect every negative feeling that you have. That's when you start to ask the questions like, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? It can't just be the world coming after me, right? It can't just me. I have this horrible, rotten luck. That's the darkest moment you'll face. And when you look at yourself and go, holy crap, is it me? Is it me?
Mhm.
Leia's been there. I've been there. Robin's been there. And that's a tough space to exist in, wherever how short a period of time or how long a period of time you exist there. But even when you're cut off, you will come to that choking point where you'll be like, holy crap, is it me? Is it me? And yes, it is me. I have to come back to me. And as heartbreaking as that is, you have to break your own heart in order to break out of prison, in order to break out of the prison that you made for yourself. And it's not an easy task. I'm not saying it's simple, but we have those codes. We have attained those codes and permission slips, Joan, and we are here to facilitate and share that space with individuals looking to make that transition and who step forward and say yes to themselves, as we did all those years ago.
So I love what you're pointing out, all three of you. Like, there is that dark night of the soul that each and every one of us seems to have to go through in order to wake up to exactly what we're here to do. And maybe that's just the story of humanity. I don't know. But I'm wondering now then, how does activating, like, what is a DNA activation actually? How does that really help us awaken faster and call in our life's work so we can finally do it?
So yes, and that is the question. And what does our DNA do? And why is it structured the way it is? Well, it is essentially an antenna array, and the structure of it allows for a certain relationship between two forces to exist, and the connection occurs within the middle. So the two strands of DNA spiraling up, and there are more. But to break it down into a palatable form of duality, because that is how we are residing right now. So our chakral system is stacked one on top of the other, and we're dealing with the 7. And that is why that number is so important, and why the 3s are so important as well, is in the middle of the 2, essentially, the relationship is formed. And this is where electricity and magnetism come in, or masculine and feminine, the father, the mother. And what do those two forces, when they unify with an agreement that each have equal worth and value? So both are willing to share equally, both are willing to receive equally. And this is where imbalance occurs. And I really feel that we are here to experience imbalance to become proficient at becoming balanced. So if we take things personally, that bad things happen to me, what we do is we allow for this false identity to be nurtured and protected. An idea that you are here separate from source, God doesn't love you, and you need to do really good in order for God to say, good job, I'll love you and I'll let you in. But you have to struggle, you may have to suffer. And that's just what God wants for you. So we have an idea that, oh, it's okay because a force outside of me tells me it's okay. And that is where victimization can occur. So what we're doing by activating the DNA is starting, where is my awareness? Where does my mind live? And mind is just a word to denote focus. So where is the focus of your intention coming from? So most of us are taught in school, and we're programmed just like a computer. Binary program. Do good, get reward. Do bad, get punishment. Reward greater than punishment. Logic. So we're programmed with a logic mind. This is what we apply to religion, spirituality, our diet, our bodies, our relationships with ourselves and each other. And now we have the potential for conflict. So this is unwinding the programming will allow someone to connect to why they're truly here. And what that takes and entails is only an admission of the individual to say, oh, my mind has been stuck in the perception of the shadow of my true self, which is the ego, the one that thinks it can get hurt, the one that believes everyone's trying to get me and hurt my feelings, and I should take it personally because they didn't like me.
And that's where you have to start, right? You have to acknowledge that it's happening where you're at so that you can provoke the change, right? If we just continue to be blind to it and continue to go on your way, you will stay, you will not create change in your life. I mean, we are big advocates of you guys living your most activated, most altruistic timeline in this lifetime, like having everything that you desire, and understanding this at a grassroots level, as Greg likes to say, or at a subconscious level, right? Understanding. So, I mean, this is what this program dives into, is that intricate understanding of DNA along with an activation. It ends with an activation in there. And I mean, there's so much work to be done. There's layers and layers and layers of healing. And it doesn't always have to be the darkest night of the soul and the biggest trauma and the biggest, most of the time it's subconscious programming. You have no idea what's going on in the background. You like the struggle. You like pulling struggle into your life. So you'll make, 100K, 100,000K, and you will create some kind of struggle in your life because subconsciously you've brought that in. But you can't reach those potentials of abundance, of wealth, of love, of happiness, peace, joy, unless you actually do this work, right? Unless you actually dig deep into this.
So let me share the program for everyone so they can actually see it. Okay. Did I share it yet? Wait.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. I don't know if it's shared. No, it didn't. We're going to try it one more time because I'd love everyone to see exactly what I've been able to see. Share. There. Okay. So maybe you want to go through this a little bit with me or with everyone else so we can see this is what would happen if you book an appointment to become your highest self and connecting to source. And I get that it's one of a 3-part series, right?
Yeah. So the other 2 parts are coming out shortly. This is just the first section of becoming your highest, or embodying your highest self, becoming your highest self. So this program is a self-paced program, right? You can buy this for $11.11 and go through this and have lifetime access, basically. So you guys can dive into the deeper knowing, the deeper understanding of how to connect to source energy and discover your true grace. And at the end, there's an activation in there as well. So we activate the DNA and we speak about the chakras within that activation and the truth of the chakras, them being a filter, not necessarily an energy center that's a stuck thing, but that we are actually the filter of each energy center. So the coming in and out of energy. So, yeah.
Part 1 focuses on admissions of how we live through the ego, and that we should not take that personally until the higher self is able to be embodied. When the body is to a point of, I guess, ascension, where it can contain that amount of voltage and energy and love, then the ego participates for us to protect us and keep us safe. For without it, our innocence may lead us into great harm just for an experience. And whoops, I guess walking on the train tracks wasn't a good idea. But we have fear and an ego that keeps us in check. But what if we could control our life and our safety and security, not based on fear, not based on lack and abundance of material? What if it's in trust in self? your true security. So all of us at this time are challenged to acknowledge our root. And when acknowledging the root of our security, that's our base chakra, and that red color, the red and the blue, right, of police, of the colors of the two pillars of Jachin and Boaz. So those are the methods of control, the root and the throat chakra. You stop them from speaking their truth. You make them insecure about their truth. And then they won't speak it, right? So no one will share their truth. They'll only share their insecurities and their beliefs, their lies, and they'll only maintenance their lies. So this is where we have a world of conflict and war and idiocy, essentially. It's not our fault. It's our egos that are perpetuating this in grown-up bodies. When other cultures have demonstrated that the coming of age was a ritualistic ceremonial event where that person took full accountability of who they were, of who they were going to be, and what they were going to produce in this world. And it was a very spiritual experience. They would fast, they would go through challenges to push them to extremes, and they would have a consciousness experience. They would become aware of perception outside of their little me. And in opening up to that, your DNA is activated to what we call source. And now your angels, your spirit guides, your true teachers may come through you. But in order to harness this information and not just pick up on a random, potentially chemically induced voice that we may refer to as a dark spirit or entity or something, so you don't serve a master like that, it is very important for someone to be secure in their root, in their divine feminine. So until you do the work of loving who you are, loving the human that you are,
and truly
that's
integrating,
part 2,
right?
is prepping the garden. Yes, because it's an integration process. It isn't just,
You can have,
I've connected and I'm saved.
You can have all the knowledge in the world, but unless you're
Yes.
integrating it, I mean, and that's what's, the magic in our mentorships and in our programs, because we integrate it. We make sure we hold that client accountable. Tough for the client sometimes, absolutely, but we are celebrating them and cheerleading them on along the way, always.
Yeah.
I understand. So people then can use the link that I've posted, and they can begin to engage with you, activate their DNA, and start to really step into their full potential.
Absolutely.
Oh, and break free from some of the I don't know, the deadening of their senses brought upon by those medications, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. I like that. They can break the hold. They can have a restoration of memory through DNA activation. Galactic Greg, do you have anything you want to add on this subject for us?
Well, part 2 is going to be coming out really, really soon, and that's preparing the garden. That's getting yourself ready for the next step. Again, this is all about integration, and that's what we specialize in, is holding you accountable and allowing this all to integrate. Something that I spoke of earlier today on a broadcast. There's no killing the ego. There's no slaying the dragon. We do have to integrate it. We do have to transmute and bring it together as one. The ego does serve a purpose. It is there to teach us. It is there to hold us in check, as Robin said. And this is a beautiful step forward for any individual who chooses to say yes to themselves, because we are activating our DNA, and essentially 2022 is the next stage in that evolution and activating our DNA. 2019 was the anticlimactic reality as we know it. 2020 was the huge awakening and connection process. 2021, we began to elevate, time collapse, lay the foundation, put things together, get some success going. And now 2022 is where we really, 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 truly get at it at a grassroots level. This is where we really begin to activate our DNA. We're doing that right now. We're doing this right now. We're activating strands and aspects of our DNA that had yet to be viewed or felt before. So 2022, ladies and gentlemen, is the year. If you're just waiting for the external narratives to play in your favor, you can keep waiting. And therefore your DNA will also keep waiting, and it will be wasted.
Did you hear that, guys?
Yeah.
If you don't do this, and this is really true, if you don't say yes, if you don't do this kind of work, the planetary shift is going to happen, and you're still going to be over here. So that's what I'm hearing you saying also, that is part of keeping up and being in a forward motion of ascension now. This is the kind of work that's actually imperative to get with the program, the new program.
The 2022, we're in a universal year of this is the 6, right? We were in 5 last year. So 5 was a big kind of upheaval, transformation. Whereas now we're moving into, love, harmony. So anybody that's feeling a lot of upheaval right now, it's because we literally are transitioning to this way of being. And it's going to continue on, right? This is the new earth, and it's being birthed through us. We are creating it in every now moment for each individual. And then as we unite, there's no point in constant conflict and fighting over who's right and which narrative. And there's just, if we can just truly respect each other. So if you feel really lost right now, as far as that goes, I really think you're on your highest timeline. If you're really clear and your road is paved and you know exactly what your future looks like, I think that could be your ego talking. So it's just important for you to realize that, change, you can absolutely change, but with a bold change comes bold changes from within. You have to decide to make bold moves. And that's what we've created. We've created in our lives and in our individual lives, in our paths together as Spirited Rebirth and Herbal Healing. That's what we've created. And we are seeing our clients do miraculous, huge time quantum leaps. I mean, it's been amazing. It's been amazing to be in this seat, seeing what happens on the other side of the computer, because I it's there and we see it. And, the work that you're doing, Joan, and everybody that's part of this movement, I just honor everyone for doing this work, because it's changing the world. It's changing our future generations. It's stopping the ancestral trauma, and it's really important. So love to you all.
Lord knows we need it. So well said, Leigha. Any last words? I've been putting the links where you can start connecting with our dear new friends, guys, and start doing the work that's going to keep you aligned with what's going on and moving forward spiritually. Any last words from you, Greg, or Robin, Leigha? Go for it. You have another minute or so to share it out.
We said amazingly, but believe in yourselves, guys. Opening the doorways is what it's about, because our ego closes a lot, and that's where beliefs and false ideas come in and keep us restrained. So challenge those ideas and false beliefs. You're going to find your truth hiding behind that sneaky little ego. And it's a beautiful story. All of your stories are beautiful. When you see it from that higher aspect, every moment you've lived is perfect in the eyes of God. And when you feel that for yourself and you return with that, you are a different person, and fear is no longer a part of your story.
All right. Okay, guys, I'm so grateful you came on our show. And by the way, the name of the show is Step into the Miraculous. So at the very end, when you use those words about stepping into the miraculous by upgrading your DNA, by upgrading your thoughts, your thinking, your processes here, you got my attention fully. All right, guys, links are going to be below. Thank you so much. Guys, I'm going to share all the links below. I'll share them out when I post everything. Meanwhile, I do want to say a few things. It is time to really step into your leadership, step into your knowingness of who you are. If you're feeling depressed, it may be because you've been not speaking your truth, not living that which you know that you are capable of doing, and you're kind of swallowing your truth. So that's part of the message. Be sure to share this out, like, subscribe, and share. Expect miracles. Reach out to our guests, expect miracles, and also feel free to have a soul awakening session. Get your free ebook with me so you can actually begin to remember who you are. So that's it for Stepping into the Miraculous today. We will see you all next time. And I'm so grateful for all of you, and I adore you. Thank you so much.